Eric Burgess here with Music Marketing TV, and today I'm going to show you how to make a sound with Hive 2 like this. That one's awesome. So you've just heard a sound I have not yet made, but the big idea and what we're going to make really quick is interesting ways of modulating wavetables. And Hive 2 gives you a lot of options. We're also going to be leveraging formancy kind of things. So let's go ahead and just dive right in and make that sound. So in oscillator 1, we're going to go ahead and set that to wavetable. This will give us the option to go to the wavetable over here in the middle of the hexagon of life. And once we're in here, let's just pick an interesting wavetable. Now, we're going to go over some formancy kind of things, but you can do this with a lot of other wavetables and still get really cool results. We're also going to be playing very low. So if we scroll through our position here, like that's going to be nice, right? Okay, so there's also this additional table option down here. So the way the wavetables work is right now it's splitting up a bunch of little waveforms, essentially, is how you can picture it, into just a thing that it'll scroll through. So there's like a whole bunch of wavetables, 29 frames in this one. So there's 29, and it's going to scroll through just as one line, back and forth, as if it were like a number line or something. Tables makes this so it's more like an array. So we could have like 5 rows. And so now there's 5 rows, and it's tried to split up these 29 frames amongst these 5 rows. And then we can scroll across it on the x-axis and on the y-axis. So we can do this like 2-dimensional scrolling. So now I have a second position knob, and we have our interpolator here that will fade between things for us. So if I play a note, so there's the one, here's the other. So there are some, I really like, that's kind of nice. So we're going to go ahead and now modulate these in interesting ways. One of the easiest ways to do this is to use an LFO. I'm going to use the LFO 1, and I'm just going to make it random glide. The motivation for random glide is if we use random hold, it'll jump to like random spots in the waveform. That could be cool too. I want some smooth movement. So that's why we're going to grab the random glide. We're going to take the target, and we're going to use both LFOs, one to move around on the X and one to move around on the Y. So I'm going to go ahead, grab this one, and we're just going to go ahead and modulate this. And we'll adjust the rate so it's really low. And it's just random right now. So that's nice. Now we're going to do the same thing with LFO2. We're going to drag it to the position, give it some control. And we're also going to make it a random glide. And make sure we're playing some low notes here. Other things you can try doing along with the time, I would leave it on gate because gate will link it to when you push notes. And I'm going to go ahead and just set this to like 1 second or even 10 seconds, something that's pretty long so that it takes a while for it to get going here. This is quite interesting. Now I want to make the X. Now we can come in here, we can mess with our crossfading. I'm going to make it spectral. Maybe not spectral. One that's always pretty interesting. Switch doesn't do anything basically, so it'll just straight up play whatever's there. So that could sometimes produce much cleaner sounds actually than the interpolator's other options would. Let's go into our effects. Let's turn on some distortion. Let's bring our weight back up to the middle here. Bring up a chorus, bring the wet way down. Phaser would sound nice here. Let's bring that down. Let's bring the feedback up a bit. Oh my goodness. Okay, the equalizer. We'll leave the EQ off, delay off. Reverb, but with a very short delay. And now let's make this monophonic. Let's make it legato, actually. So we have legato. Just makes it so that when we play notes, they they'll bleed into each other when I push down 2 notes. And let's go to the synth engine dirty and just hear that one. Okay, let's go to a different synth engine. Let's see what normal. Ooh, both sound pretty nice. Okay, so that's now we can begin to dig through our wavetables. So right here, we've got sort of a crazy wavetable. We could dial in our positions and limit the LFO. Let's just go ahead and see what some other ones sound like. This was like, that's a nice one. Let's hear this one. I changed it to crossfade. Let's go to spectral on this. So when we mess with the tables on here, we can actually get some pretty interesting results because of how this will split up the file here. So we have 128 frames. Let's go for like 12 and see what we get. Now let's change it to something sort of weird like 13. So we get in between the movement of frames, we get these sort of weirder motions there. And sometimes this could be really cool. Sometimes it's something you don't want. It just depends on the wavetable and what you're going for. Let's dig through a couple more. Oh my goodness. The Vox 1 is living it up. That one's awesome. So you get the idea. It's a pretty powerful thing to just be able to move them around with the tables option. Very, very nifty. You can easily dress it up. And the rest of the name of the game is basically finding a wavetable that'll work for you and will produce the result you want. There's actually surprisingly little you need other than that. Wavetables are just a really cool way to get sounds fast. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and have a blessed day.